Welcome to Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music. Hi, I'm Al Yankee.
And I'm Reverend Jeannie Kataoka. Join with us for a deep dive into the inspiration and meaning behind the music of New Thought. As important New Thought artists share the stories of their creative process and their spiritual journey.
Real Conversations is a rare opportunity to take a look behind the curtain, to discover the connections between the stories, the music, the artists, and you. So let's dive right in to Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music.
Hello, thank you for joining us. This is Jeannie Kataoka. I'm with my co-host Al Yankee, and we're so excited today to have Denise Rosier. We've been wanting to get her for a couple of years now, and we finally snagged her, and we couldn't be happier. So welcome, Denise.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I'm glad that you guys are doing this. And, I know that Al in particular has always done things that are super supportive of New Thought music and musicians. So here's just another one of those things that he's doing. So it's great to be here to share with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, may I introduce Denise to anybody who doesn't already know her, which maybe is nobody listening to this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So just a little bio. Denise Rosier is best known for writing and performing music for New Thought spiritual communities, no surprise there, but also for other open and affirming church denominations. Her inspirational albums, One Heart, Every Day, and Heart of Praise Volume 1, contains songs that have been recognized with 6 Posy Music Awards. I looked it up. That's the most Posy Awards for any non-collaborative songwriter, that songwriter who does it all themselves. Moreover, Denise is the first New Thought artist to successfully cross over to the larger inspirational music audience, receiving nominations for Best Contemporary Christian/Gospel Album at the Independent Music Awards in both 2016 and 2019. She also uses her creative energies in service to others. She's a longtime member of the Songs of Love Foundation, an organization of songwriters who write original songs for children who are terminally ill or have special needs. To date, Denise has written and performed songs for over 300 such children. Denise lives in Colorado Springs, Colorado, with her partner, Christy Dweck, in a beautiful home they purchased very publicly on the HTV series House Hunters. We're so thrilled to have her here to join us on Real Conversations.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Al. So let's go ahead and get this party started. The first song we're going to talk about is Spirit in This Place from the One Heart album that was in 2013. And the reason I chose this, Denise, was because we sing this all the time at my CSL, at Riverside CSL in California. So how did you come to write this?
When I started writing for New Thought, I come from a traditional Christian background. So I was, I started out, I guess, like a lot of singers, I was in choirs and worship bands and all that, and just really enjoyed that kind of congregational singing. But when I started to, I guess, divert from my own roots and found New Thought, I really wanted to create songs that were sacred and, inspirational for this new philosophy. Because what I was hearing was a lot of songs that were Christian songs that I recognized from the past that had their lyrics tweaked, or I heard a lot of positive radio songs that were being sung in church, and there seemed to be this piece that was missing for me as a newcomer to New Thought that was a sacred, inspirational Sunday morning kind of music. And so because I wasn't familiar at the time with any of the other artists, and me being a writer, I thought, well, I'm going to write some songs. I'm going to write songs that I want to sing, and songs that will hopefully create this Sunday morning experience for this amazing new community that I had discovered. And so Spirit is in This Place was the very first one that I wrote.
Wow. That's fascinating. So, well, let's give a listen to Spirit is in This Place. So you had me singing along again, just like on Sunday. So
So it's my turn. We do kind of a tag team thing here on these tunes. And actually, our process is that I email Jeannie and say, she's, I'm polite, I'm a gentleman. I say, Jeannie, you pick first and I'll pick second. And I was so glad that she didn't pick this song, this next song, which is I Know God, off that same album, your first album, One Heart.
we could have negotiated.
Well, I might have approached you. I might have had to buy you, a veggie pizza or something.
A skinny vanilla latte, yeah.
Exactly. Because this is the reason. This song is the reason that I called you to come to so many years ago to come to join us at the New Thought Music Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you why after we listen to it. So let's give it a listen, and then I'll get verbose on you.
Okay.
And he can do that.
I will. Here we go. I Know God from One Heart, Denise Rosier.
I am one, simple and plain. No superpowers, no famous name. But I stand tall, 'cause I believe something greater has come alive inside of me. I have felt the Spirit stirring in my soul, deep in my soul. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. Hold of me. I know
God. Denise. What can I ask you? Did this come shortly after Spirit is in This Place when you were writing?
Yeah, it did. It was the first ballad that I wrote, certainly. When I decided I wasn't even sure at the time that I was going to come out with an album. I was just writing songs. I was just writing material at the time for me to sing at church. before I started playing music full time, of course, I had a job, a day job, and I was a software developer for 20 some odd years. But I remember, I knew a Sunday was coming up, and for me, songs are just very true to what I'm feeling inside. So the songs that I write really do come from the inside out. They're just kind of these messages or conversations between me and God. I remember at the time Bono was doing a lot of stuff out in the world, and the Kardashians were being profiled for things that they were doing out in the world. And I thought, gosh, really, we don't need to be celebrities or elected officials or anything in order to forward love and peace and goodness. It's really just something that is born in us and comes out of us because of this amazing relationship that we have with God. And so, we do it all the time, right? We're teachers, or we can do it in the office, or we can do it just around the kitchen table. We can spread this amazing love that we have inside of us. And that's kind of where I know God came from. And it's funny, I remember there's this part. I can't remember a lot of things, but I seem to remember exactly where I was when I was writing a particular song, and I was sitting in my cubicle just writing down all of the lyrics. They just kind of flowed just continuously, as opposed to when I write some other songs and it seems like they can take forever. And then I remember the melody. I remember going home and sitting at my keyboard, and I was waiting for my dinner to be microwaved. And at some point, it's just all of the melody just came to me as I was reading through the lyrics. So I know God was a really easy one to write. And I think it's just because it was something that was so personal to me. So I was really happy to hear that other people really resonated with it too, especially since it was such an early New Thought song for me.
I really want to talk to you about that melody because it's powerful and poignant. So I'm going to geek out here for a minute, do my music geek thing, if you'll forgive me for that. You are so careful about the setting of the text in this particular song. There's lots of word painting in there. Like I think maybe the most obvious one for people who don't know what word painting is, it's when the melody and the lyrics reinforce each other. Like the most obvious one is when you say "deep in my soul" and you go deep into your low register to say it, to sing it. But one thing in particular in this song is that is so powerful is that you don't shy away from dissonance in your melody. In the chorus where you sing what you just referred to, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. Those so amazing, usually that's a triumphant thing, but you sing it on a very dissonant note. And I actually remember when we performed it, the drummer that was when we were behind you, the drummer is also composer and conductor, and he heard you sing that the first time, and he shot me a look that I just because he recognized that it was amazing, but it was also tied up with some pain. It was also tied up with some conflict of some kind. And when I hear it, I'll just tell you, every time, from the first time to when I was listening to it yesterday to prepare to talk to you, my chest contracts. It takes my breath away, and it literally takes my breath away. But what you do after that, in a world where so many feel, it starts to get more constant in a world where so many feel lost. And then on that word lost, you go to a suspension. You go to the 4 for the music geeks out there. And that, it feels a little lost, it's and then you finally get to the payoff of, I know God, but you don't go to the tonic, you go to the 5th, which is the most open interval, and it just opens up, and I actually take a breath when I hear that.
Gosh, that is so cool.
Well, you did it. I'm just telling you what happens.
And I'll tell you why it's so cool for me, because anytime I talk to someone who is very musically literate, it teaches me so much. And I just sit there in awe to listen to you describe all of these things that, that I'm not necessarily conscious of. I think that when I'm writing, I've been very lucky to just know what I want to sing and just know how I want it to sound. And I may not even know all of the vocabulary behind it. And so whenever I talk to someone like you, Al, who's actually able to explain it to me, it's just fantastic. I just sit there like you say you're geeking out, but I'm actually the one geeking out listening to you. And listening to you explain my songs to me. It's really wonderful.
Well, you don't have to have that vocabulary to feel it.
Mhm.
And I know that it resonates with audiences. I actually, I listened to the recording and then I went and watched the video again from the performance at the
Mm.
festival. Because one more thing that you do in this song is, it repeats and it builds as any good arrangement does. And then right almost to the end, you go up a little higher in your register and you say, "I know God," and you end on the tonic, finally.
Mhm.
And the audience reacts. That's the point where you get "yeah" from the audience, because they feel they don't know. They don't know 5th from 6th
Right,
or 10th or
exactly.
whatever,
Mhm.
but they feel that you have come home at that point.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
and
I'm not gonna let me stop you for
oh,
1
sure,
second. I'm
sure.
sorry, 'cause I'm in my geek mode.
Yes.
He warned you.
Yeah, just one more thing, because you don't leave it there. Because then you come back one more time just to say, "I know God," and you go again to the 5th, which leaves it just open. It's just like somebody opened the windows and all the air just came in.
Mhm.
It's just gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
It just is.
I appreciate that so much. And I know God is, even after, 5 albums later, I know God is still one of my favorite songs and one of my personal favorites to sing. And like I said, it's so interesting. Any person who just has a very deep musical background and education, they always pick out that line, "It takes my breath away," and the melody behind that. And that was the melody that I landed when the microwave went off, when I was waiting for my dinner. And I remember singing it. I was playing it and I sang that melody, into my cell phone. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to sing. And then I went and ate my spare ribs.
Yeah, good work.
Thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. It's
Wow.
so, I think that, as a singer, it's just, I think with everyone, whether you play an instrument or whatever, you know what you want to hear. And for a long time, I remember when I first started writing, it was the thing that was so frustrating for me as a beginner was I couldn't write what I wanted to hear or what I wanted to sing. I knew in my head what I wanted. I just didn't have the skills yet to get there. And so it really is, that was when people ask me, how did you know um, when you were finally able to write a good song or a song? And that was it. That when I finally was able to write songs that I as a singer would want to sing, that's how I knew I had kind of closed that loop between singing and songwriting.
Well, thank you for that. The next song we're going to listen to, I guess we'll talk about it first, is "God Within Me." And what strikes me about this, Denise, is that it is so in line with Reverend Michael Beckwith's 4 Stages of Consciousness, I believe they're called. the idea of to me, by me, through me, as me. And of course, this is God within me is as me. That's what we, we would all love to live in that level of consciousness all the time, but it's kind of like after enlightenment, the laundry, and something will trip us up, and then we'll go back to the victim mode, that things are happening to me, and then maybe we'll be able to manifest a parking place, and that's by me. We go through all of these, and it's kind of up and down and up and down. So I was wondering, was that in your mind when this came about, or was it by accident or on purpose?
God Within Me, that song actually came as a result of an exercise. And I was sitting at my desk at work one day, and I was looking for podcasts to listen to just to know more about, New Thought. And the way that I discovered New Thought was after I had kind of left traditional Christianity, where I realized that it wasn't really philosophically and spiritually resonating with me anymore. I had decided that God and I were just going to go our own way. And I had these very, I thought, okay, well, traditional religion isn't going to work for me, but I know that God is very real, and a very real part of my life. And so I just need to believe it the way I believe it. And that's okay. And then one day somebody invited me to come to a brand new CSL that was opening, and it had 10 people in it. It was Living Beyond Limits in Lakewood, California. It was their very first Sunday.
My old stomping ground, yeah.
And I couldn't believe it after I got in there. Again, still, I thought these were 10 people who felt spiritually the same way I did and believed the same thing that I did. And I thought they were the only 10 people. And so I thought, wow, how cool is this that these people get together every week to talk about this? And then I started to research a little more and learn more about New Thought, religious science, and unity. And I thought, wow, I can't believe it. Where have these people been my whole life? And so as I was wanting to learn more and I was listening to podcasts at work, I stumbled upon, it was a Unity in Hawaii, and the minister there was Sky St. John. I was listening to him, and at some point he started to do these affirmations. And he said, repeat this after me. I love with the heart of God within me. And then I was like, wow, that is super cool. So I wrote that down, and then I just kept writing all of these affirmations in a list. And, I sing with the voice of God within me. And just on and on and on and on. And then I took out my favorite, 12 of those. And then that became God within me. And I took it home and I started to put together a melody around that. And what I really like about God within me is any spiritual community can sing it. Any person can sing it, because I am certainly not going to be the one to tell you who or what God is or how you should believe or feel about God. I have learned enough and experienced enough to know that that is a super personal thing, and it's a powerful thing. So this song, what I love about the chorus, everything praises God within me. And so it's either going to be, depending on where you come from, right? Everything praises the God within me, or everything within me praises God.
Mm-hmm.
It can be either way. And I'm not going to tell you how you need to sing it or how you need to feel about it.
Right.
So that's what I have really loved about God within me. And I learned so much about these really neat affirmations these truths that we can say about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Awesome.
how God within me came about.
All
that
right.
one little affirmation from Sky St. John.
Hey, oak trees grow from some little acorns. So let's listen to this oak tree that Denise has grown, God within me.
I love with the heart of God within me. I sing with the voice of God within me. I rest in the peace of God within me. Everything praises God within me. I know with the mind of God within me. I pray with the faith of God within me. I trust in the power of God within me. Everything praises God within me. I am a safe and loving place, born of beauty and amazing grace. I laugh with the joy of God within me. I shine with the light of God within me. I am who I am 'cause of God within me. Everything praises God. Everything praises God. Everything praises God within me. Praises God. Everything praises God. Everything praises God. Everything praises God within me. Within me.
Thank you for that.
So I want to go on to an entirely different kind of song. This one is called "Open Up." It's from your next album, the 2016 album, Every Day. And let's do the reverse order on this one. Let's listen to it first.
Okay.
So here's Denise Rosier, "Open Up."
When a step seems too hard to take, every turn feels like a big mistake. It makes you wanna close your eyes and hide. Trust yourself, even if you're scared. Don't give up, don't give in to fear. All the strength you seek, you'll find inside. Open up, spread your wings and rise above. The
So that's an entirely different kind of song than what we've been listening to up to this point. But it does show, even in this in the different setting, that careful text setting I was talking about earlier. That early on you've got the words scared and fear, and you place those again on that four, on that suspension. That's just really artfully done. You just are you sure nobody ever told you how to do that? Is that coming straight from the
Well,
gut?
I'll tell you, I do know about, melody and just chordally how to put the songs and the progressions along. But I think that what I choose to sing against them are just something that naturally flow. And I do like suspended chords a lot. So you'll hear that, I think, a lot in, especially with my background vocals. There and I have a great friend, Brian Hawley, who does backgrounds with me, and he finds just the most. I don't think there's any note or chord that he doesn't know or can't sing, but so he will bring a lot of jazz chords into our background vocals and stuff. So
Well, and in your recordings, it does seem like the background vocals get more complex and interesting
mhm.
as you go on. I'm reminded of the Carpenters actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love the Carpenters. I love the Carpenters background vocals. I really love just music from the 70s and how all of those arrangements and the background vocals were laid out. So when Brian and I worked together, we just kind of channel our Carpenters and Beach Boys and sometimes some of that Chicago kind of thing. And so yeah, you're right. We do bring that in.
yeah, that's just wonderful. And of course, when you sing "Open Up," you is open up to the
Yeah.
highest pitch in the thing. So that's perfect. And I'm sure people get goosebumps and other physical reactions, which is just great. And then the other hook in there, kind of a more subtle one, which is the "You Are."
Mhm.
And then sometimes, you are, uh, and many times you just leave it open. A few times you finish the thought, "You are more than you are." I think is that
Mhm.
right? Did I have
Yes,
that right?
yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, but several times you just leave it open for the listener to fill in.
To fill it in. That's right.
Yeah, and that's so great. It's so hard sometimes to not fill in every crack, you know?
Yeah.
Was there anything that prompted you to write this particular song?
Well, that song was really fun to write because it is, because it's an up tempo, there is a place to make it pretty hooky. And so I had a lot of fun doing that. And that song was another one that was pretty quick to write. It was almost called You Are More Than You Are, but then I realized that Open Up was just a much better title. And what I liked about it is originally when I was playing around with this song, I could hear my daughter and her friends down the hall, and I really wanted to write something that was to speak to them, to be I could hear their laughter and all of their crazy ideas, and it was so fresh and so lovely, and I never wanted them to lose that or to become self-conscious. But what's interesting is with the One Heart album and with Every Day, both of those albums were written before I came out. And so when I listen back through these songs and these messages, each album seems to be this journal of how my life has progressed over the years. And I realized that not only do I write songs with messages that I really want to convey to other people. Things that I really want them to know or connect with. But I realize that sometimes in those songs, God has left little post-it notes for me. And I can listen back to them and go, oh man, back when my life was so, it was just so restricted, and I was so careful about who knew what and who was privy to some of the very personal details of my life. I think that the lesson for me is you can only do that for so long. And then your life is just going to let itself out in any way that it can. And so with Open Up, there's a line in there: speak your mind, make a statement, don't hide yourself out in the open. And I realized, it was like when I hear don't hide yourself out in the open, or in One Heart, there's a song called Spirit in Me, and there's a line in there: Spirit in me, live out in the open, shine from my life like the sun. And I realized that I was just wanting so bad for my life to be out in the open, and couldn't figure out how to do that. And so it was just bleeding out into my music. So Open Up, it was just it's a very interesting song for me personally to listen to, because one, I really enjoyed writing it. I had a lot of fun working that song, and I really meant it for Madeline and her friends. But there's so much of me and my own spirit that just poured out into it that I couldn't really see at the time until I listened to it, in hindsight. And so when I won a Positive Music Award for that song, it was very meaningful. And when I look back at that award and go, gosh, all of these things that went into that song resonated with other people too.
Well, that's powerful. Dang. Yeah, the old tome kept going through my head as you were talking of physician, heal thyself.
Mm-hmm.
And we are physicians, we are healers,
Mm-hmm.
but many times it's because we share our own processes, and other folks identify with it
Yeah.
or see themselves in it.
And when I hear the launch into the chorus of Open Up, it was just I used to think of it as kind of this exhale, because the verse melody is just so packed full of rhythm, and words. And then finally there's just this open up, like, oh my gosh, let me just gasp for some air. But now when I listen to it, it's almost like there was this part of me that was just screaming, open up,
And it probably was.
And it was. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You did say that, we, I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was something about, we move and we change, and grow.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, sometimes people don't, so that's why
Mhm.
a song like this, in its superficial way, it's just ecstatic,
Mhm.
and that's fun.
Mhm.
But when you can when it can someone can find that deeper message in there that resonates for them personally, um, you've done a service to the world.
Thank you.
Well, I think all of that is a wonderful segue into the next song we're going to talk about is Hallelujah Today. And the first time I listened to it, I just, it lifted me up, and I went, I should listen to this till I know it by heart, and I can sing it because it will remind me of any time it was the best day ever. And then I got to thinking about, okay, what would make the best day ever? And one of the first things I thought was, well, to find out that the person that you've fallen in love with loves you,
Hmm.
and how oh my gosh. Or I know one time, just I quit a job, and as soon as I walked out the door, I was like, yeah, because I was really glad that I wasn't going to be suppressed, compressed. And I was just, I didn't even think about, yeah, but you've got to find another one. So it was, I was thinking back to all the times that I had a really great day, when my kids were born, Mike and I decided, my husband and I decided to get married. So I just thought, oh, this is such an awesome song. So how did you come to write this one?
Well, this song, the story behind it is I have never been a sporty person, and I really wanted to do something that was sporty. And so I decided I was going to run a 5K. And I didn't, I was so, I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to prepare for this run? And so I talked to some friends of mine. Two of my friends have run marathons. And so I said, Stephen, I need to prepare for this 5K. What am I supposed to do to be able to run that far? And he looked at me, and the first thing he said was, oh my God, it's 3 miles. So, get over yourself. And, he runs like, what is it, 26 miles or something in a marathon?
26.2, I think, a marathon.
Yeah. And so he said this, he said, listen, he goes, here's what runners know. He said, feel your feet. Don't think about how far you've come or how far you have to go. Just feel your feet and pay attention to where you're at. And the first thing I thought was, as soon as I leave you, Stephen, I'm going to go write this song because that's really good. and then I did take that advice, and sure enough, I ran that whole 5K. I ran it. I mean, it took me a long time, and I didn't run really fast, but I ran it. And I realized, if you just feel your feet and you don't think about how much time you've put into this job and how much longer is it going to be until I can quit and do my whatever my dream is, or how much longer do I have to wait for this or that, just appreciate where you are. You will be able to go longer and farther and finish than you realized. And so that's where that song came from. But Jeannie, what is so neat about what you said is when you were talking about the person who you discover loves you, the thing about the Everyday album is I was midway through the album and I met who is now my wife, Christy. And I realized that I was falling more and more in love with her. And I was midway through this album and I had put it on the shelf. I didn't know when I was going to actually release it because my life was in turmoil at that time. And as I would just kind of write a song here and there. And what I realized was how much love was in this album. There are so many songs in there. Beloved One, I Couldn't Love You More, What Did You Say, Hallelujah Today. There's so much love that eventually, as with each song that I completed for this album, more and more, it was actually becoming this album of themes of love. And I called it Every Day because it is, every day. When you put the word together, it means casual. It means every day, as opposed to when you separate the words where it means, each consecutive day. And so the songs throughout the album describe everyday goodness that finds us every day. And so, so Hallelujah Today, it is just this triumphant song and it's so interesting. I love to hear what people apply it to, because for me, it really was born out of just trying to do something sporty and proving to myself that I could do it. But, people will write to me or, just kind of send me a message here and there about what they use that song for. And so that's another one where I love that people have resonated with, that it has resonated with people.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And let's listen to Hallelujah Today.
bones are aching, pushing past the point of breaking. The road is long, but I will make it, that's who I am. It's not this race, but how I'm running, not who I was, who I'm becoming. Steady on, I'll finish strong on this path. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Every breath in me proclaims hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Today, with every mile I'm reminded I never go empty-handed. God is my strength, I'm never stranded, I'm not alone. Call it out like a siren of good and peace and joy resounding. Hear me now, I'm ringing out around the world. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Every breath in me proclaims hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Today, in every song I sing, in every part of me, in everything. Hallelujah. 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 Every breath in me proclaims hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Best day ever.
So on that same album, and what you song you referred to earlier is "What Did You Say?" Let's let's go ahead and just listen to that. You know, we do a lot of talking, but let's do a lot of listening here for a minute. What did you say, Denise Rosier?
What did you say to the woman right there, alone in her fear? What dried her tears? What did you say to the broken man, holding out his hand as you passed? What did you say? What did you say? Tell me from the inside out, whisper deep in my soul what your love's all about. When the weight of the world takes the best of me, give me your words, give me your words, I pray. What did you say to open my heart when I locked it up, when I fell apart? What did you say when I let you in and you made the pieces fit? Everything has changed. I'm rightly rearranged. Tell me from the inside out, whisper deep in my soul what your love's all about. When the weight of the world takes the best of me, give me your words, give me your words, I pray. What did you say? What did you say? What did you say to make yourself heard? To change one life, to change the whole world. What did you say? What did you say? Tell me from the inside out, whisper deep in my soul what your love's all about. When the weight of the world takes the best of me, give me your words, give me your words, I pray. What did you say? What did you
So I am really fond of lyrics that leave a lot of room.
Hmm.
Um, um, sometimes I think the poetry can get so obtuse that there's too much room, but
Mhm.
you don't go there. I think you really hit the balance right on this one. Um, did you uh, did you have to work at that with these lyrics? Do you recall the process?
Gosh, this song, this this is such a great example of how when I worked on this Everyday album, I was right in the middle of my life blowing up and meeting Christy. And so I had started writing every day. I mean, I started writing What Did You Say? Because I was thinking about, and I don't remember what got me on this track, but I was thinking about Jesus and how he, even to this day, no matter how you hold Jesus, what you think of him or his legacy, we are still talking about him. And he's known as this person who brought peace into the world and who could just touch a large group of people. There was no social media back then, but somehow he got through to so many people and he was life changing to so many people. And so I thought, gosh, What did you say? Like exactly how did you get through to everyone with this heart of love and just this whole vibe of love and peace? And so I started writing just basically on that. And then I thought, that's not something that can just come from the outside. I really need to know from the inside out, how do I put this love out there? How do I genuinely and authentically love people and connect with people, and with no ulterior motive or anything? I just want to love them. And so at that same time, so I couldn't really finish that song. I put it aside, and then I met Christy, and meeting her was pivotal. I had no intention of falling in love with her or meeting her or ever coming out. But there was just something magical when I met her. And I thought, gosh, what in the world? All we did was we had coffee. What were those words that she said that changed the whole trajectory of my life? And so, she was also talking about, because she is a practitioner, a CSL practitioner, and she was talking about how before she became a practitioner, she actually wanted to go into the ministry, but decided not to, because she figured she could take her ministry to work and she could minister to people there, not overtly, but just through examples, just through setting an example.
Mhm.
And so when I wrote, when I finished writing that song, part of it was like, gosh, Christy, what did you say? What did you say to open my heart when I had closed it up and I was falling apart? And then I wrote it kind of from Christy's perspective of how she wants to bring this love of God out into the world when her day-to-day life at work just beats it all out of her. How does she maintain this love and still put it out there? How can she still minister from a heart of love, even in the corporate world? So it was all of those things that came together into that song.
Wow. Because you never say who you is, of course, in that,
Mm.
and it's obvious that it's someone you respect or revere,
Mhm.
think is a wise person, um, and want to learn from. Um, so it's it's so open that the listener can plug in Jesus if they want. You know,
Mhm.
they can plug in their spiritual leader or their parent
Mm.
or
Mhm.
their significant other. Um, so that's you know, the I had a similar thought one time, on one of my songs,
Mhm.
with a similar title, which was "What Can I Say?"
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and the whole point of that song was just to ask that question, how
Mhm.
can, what in the world can I say that's of value or that's, worth you even listening to?
Mhm.
Um, so that was, they're sort of related in a way.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's a song that I don't really perform it very often, but that's another one where I personally like that song. I there's something about that. I think it's the chorus melody that I just really like singing. So, yeah, I don't know why I don't perform it more often, but it is just one of my personal favorites.
Just another this is, moving a little, to the left here, but, you mentioned singing in church choirs and such
Mhm.
as a young person,
Mhm.
um, and you're a pretty decent guitar player, um, and a fantastic songwriter and singer. Um, did you ever play in any other kinds of ensembles or with other kinds of people?
Yes, I did. Throughout my 20s, I did do kind of the worship band thing, but I also had, like so many people do in California for sure, because that's where I'm from. Um, I had a classic rock band, and I loved singing Heart and Linda Ronstadt and, all of those. So I had a classic rock and blues band. I did country for a while, and I still even write those kinds of songs. So I did that pretty much through my 20s and had a good time, good time with it.
Right. It's all very informative. So,
Okay, we're going to move on to another album, Heart of Praise Volume 1. I didn't see Volume 2 out yet, so I'm wondering if you're working on that.
I am working on Volume 2 right now. In fact, I have a bunch of Post-it notes up on my wall of the songs that are in contention for that album.
Well, Volume 1 came out in 2019, and as we all know, there was no 2020. So.
Right.
So the one I want to talk about, because the first two lines, just every time I got connected to that, it's been a few minutes since I listened to it, but I'm made of the light that hung the stars at night, and I'm always fascinated by rhyme schemes. Like Stephen Sondheim is one of my favorites.
Oh, yes.
But light and night, and I went, it seems kind of like opposites, but it worked perfectly. So tell me about all the lyrics and how you came to write I Am.
Well, I Am is Heart of Praise is different because it's the first album where I decided it was going to be devoted specifically to New Thought congregational praise songs. So, I think that all of the New Thought artists kind of have their space in this genre. And there are a lot of affirmational songs or just a lot of different types of songs, but I particularly like praise music and that format. And I felt like there's really a place for it in New Thought. And again, it's just because my whole desire is to fill our catalog with songs that are specific for our philosophy. And because I feel like there's a lot of intention that goes into songwriting, and because every writer, when they're writing a song, they have an emotion or something that they're trying to convey. And if you take a Christian song that was written for that community, all of that energy and vibe and belief and everything is imbued in that song, behind those lyrics and behind that melody. And so I wanted to do the same thing with New Thought. It's written by somebody who truly believes this. And, when you're singing it, all of that energy that's been poured into it, all of that intention that's been poured into it, you're dipping into and sharing. And so that was how Heart of Praise came. And then I created with it a tour that is Heart of Praise live, and everybody gets together and we all sing the songs together, and the band backs everybody up, and it's just kind of this event of singing praise music together, but it's New Thought. And so when I wrote I Am, I really had to put on this other hat of creating melodies that were easier to sing and lyrics that were easier to remember, not super rangy. All of that I had to take into consideration. And so it was a very interesting exercise for me to not just go, okay, I want to go for a big note here. You can't, the average person can't do that. And so I Am just became one of those things. It was just kind of this affirmation, but I didn't want to be too on the nose with it. And so, I Am made of the light that hung the stars in the night. The vastness, I think, of that. And it just, for me, it brought to mind, I love just staring up at the stars and thinking about, the vastness of the universe and how magical it is. And so all of that went into, hey, everybody, that's what we're made of. That's not just out there. We are part of that. You are actually made of that.
Yep. Carl
So-
Sagan. We are made of star
Of
stuff.
star stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, let's listen to I Am by Denise Rosier.
I am made of the light that hung the stars in the night. A perfect thought since time began. I am one with the love that's holding all of us. It's power in my hands. I am called by the voice that speaks of truth and joy. Forever blessed where I stand. I am. That hung the stars in the night. A perfect thought since time began. I am. One with the love that's holding all of us. It's power in my hands. I am. That speaks of truth and joy. Forever blessed where I stand. I
Another wonderful one.
Mhm. Exactly. And from the same album, I picked Spirit Move.
Hmm.
And I'm going to do the same thing. Let's just listen to that first and
Okay.
then talk about it. Here's Spirit Move from Heart of Praise, Volume Uno.
holding back the power in this room right now, rising up as a force of love so high it can't come down. Every soul is a soul on fire, burning bright with the light of life. Here we are, open wide, there's no place we can hide. We sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Spirit move, our hands and feet. Spirit move, everything. Spirit move, in the space between. Spirit move, like a river deep and wide, rolling out like a mighty flood. Love's filling every heart and pouring out of us. Feel it breaking down the walls, building everybody up. It's taking over now, there's no way it can stop. So we sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Spirit move, our hands and feet. Spirit move, everything. Spirit move, in the space between. Spirit move. Sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Move, our hands and feet. Spirit move, everything. Spirit move, in the space between. Spirit move, Spirit move, our hands and feet. Spirit move, everything. Spirit move, in the space between. Spirit move,
So this is a get up and
Yeah.
kind of thing. My goodness, and you mentioned Bono earlier, and I think you're channeling U2 here. I really,
Gosh, that would be great.
it is a great anthem. You know, that could open or close any service. I think it could open or close any seminar. I could even see it over movie end titles. You
Hmm.
know, I mean,
Mhm.
it's that wonderful uplifting rocker. You know, well, you do know, of course, you put it together. And really nice production on this album. You know, I think your chops keep getting better in that regard. Although they were, you know, there's nothing wrong with any of it. But strong playing, strong vocals, the mixing and the mastering, you know. How much of that do you do? And, you know, because I know you do a lot, but
Mhm.
what do you get help with?
Well, I cannot take any credit for how amazing those musicians are. I work work with some musicians in Nashville. And the thing is, technology has gotten so great. I remember when I did my very first album in 2001, we had to rent out the studio for, the weekend to work, just to lay down a few tracks. And now I Skype with the studio guys over in Nashville, and we work out the songs together. And then they send all the tracks back here to my studio, which is where I do the vocals. And then I send it back, and they mix it. And we just
Wow.
kind of go back and forth with what tweaks I want to do or make. And so, but the guys are just, fantastic musicians out there, and are really good at taking the direction that I give them, and I try to create demos or work tapes as close to what I want to hear as possible. And then I leave a little bit of room in there because, Al, as you know, professional musicians, you guys know how to play your instrument, and what direction or what would sound best in a particular spot because your instrument so well. And so I try to say, here's the idea that I want, but there's also room for you to do your own thing because you are the expert at that thing. And so I'm not going to try to tie your hands too much. And I think that works the best when working with with professional musicians. So it really is a collaborative process at that point.
Yeah, I think that's that's the same as going into the restaurant, and instead of having in mind, what it is that you want, you ask the waitress, "What's good today?"
Right.
And you're never disappointed.
Yeah, and I'm not going to walk into the back of the kitchen and go, "Hey, could you stir this way instead?" Or can you maybe not flip this steak until, a few more minutes later, because that person has spent their whole lives learning that skill. Why am I going to tell you how to do it better?
Right, and depending on their personality,
Yeah.
they're either gonna really try, and then you
Yeah.
have to be responsible for however it comes out,
Yeah.
or they're going to flip you off and tell you to get out of the kitchen, you know?
Yeah, I think that I think you get a lot more if everybody is just respectful of, what their wheelhouse is, and to just honor that and go, "Hey, you're a great guitar player. I'm going to let you please play the guitar here, but play what you think would sound really great."
It's so wonderful. So, I think we're nearing the end here. So Denise, if you've gained some new fans, where can they keep up with you? Where can they get more information about you and your music and whatever's going on with you?
Well, they can find me at my website, which is deniserosier.com. But they can stream me everywhere, Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, all of the usual online streaming. They can find me there or buy my music there. And they could find me on Facebook.
Sure. Well, we have one more question for you. What and we know that this is like picking a favorite child if you have more than one, but what is your favorite song that you have done?
I think it's between I Know God and Between Us. Those two are right up there, I think. I really do love I Know God. Just it means a lot to me personally.
But we didn't play Between Us, so I think that's how we should end the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we'll do that. So,
Okay.
thank you, Denise, for spending some time with us. It's really been wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been fantastic, and it's nice to meet you, Jeannie.
Thank you, Denise. It's so wonderful to meet you. And I have a book I'm going to send you called Why Karen Carpenter Matters, a friend of ours. In fact, Jimmy Dykes, great pianist, worked at Riverside CSL for many, many years. His daughter is a professor at UCLA, and she wrote it. And since you were saying that you love Karen Carpenter,
sounds fantastic.
I will get a copy of that and send it.
Thank you. So I will love that. Thank you.
Okay.
And Al, as always, thank you so much. I mean, we have actually known each other in all of these different ways for 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
So, and it's cool to see what you're up to. You do the coolest gigs.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, I love to see where you're going to be playing. What does your office look like that day? So, I really appreciate, again, how much you do just to support New Thought musicians.
Yeah. Well, it's my pleasure. I think they're some of the best people that there are.
Mm.
Okay. I'm going to end this broadcast. Thank you.
All right.
And
love is alive in the space between us. Feel that love right now. God speaks out in the words between us. Hear those words right now. I am holy. You are holy.